because economically, if you can't do business on an international level, the only way you can generate a positive cash flow is to do business with yourself at home. We don't want to do business with them, and we the only bank in town. We want you to go so we can do business on our own, with our own, like we was doing before you came. So the BRICS is financial instruments backed by actual substance that's pushing a fiat instrument that's backed by a false premise back to its point of origin. The weight of the accumulation of the fiat with no circulation is going to cause, one, it's putrefying in the harbor, right? That's one thing that it's doing. The other thing it's doing is starting to build up weight on top of itself. It's going to have to collapse. And when it collapses, then we go about all of the stuff that we seized using the oral tradition from them that they was trying to use to usurp us and to conquer us. We seize all of their shit. Now they don't got nothing. So all of the programs that was designed to be belligerent to us is now being made to work for us, to become our tool or instrument in order to make things more equitable as opposed to inequitable under the fiat lien system. Because that's what it is. All of your laws in the system is under a doctrine of levy and lien. And levy is the tribe of Levi, and the lien is the anagram for enlil. So now you know who was in charge of the banks. I mean, the law. And the banks is the ones who fall under the House of Dinah, but they don't want to talk about that because now they would have to expose the rightful heir. Because the wealth can only come through the motherland.
All right. We at the 2 hour mark, man. We gonna come back though. We'll come back tomorrow, next day, whenever we can, and we'll finish this up. I took all the notes down from this tape, and I'm gonna go over the notes and the questions that all the questions that you people asked. I wrote them. I'm gonna write them down. I'm gonna go back and write them down, and we're gonna make sure we get your questions and concerns answered. We just wanted to come on, like this really was a surprise class because we really seeing how the checking the people out and seeing how they is on the land and how they responding to the switch. Because to me, it seemed like the government ain't gonna just leave us hanging. They gonna kind of like make it like a buffer to where we switch over to, the new system, And
well, you gotta remember the system that we took over. They was building internment camps to put us in. Guess who about to be there now?
Them?
Police, judges, and attorneys, politicians.
That's right.
All of them gonna have to, because this is a true conspiracy to undermine the tribes of the land.
Fact.
When you go to the FEMA continuity of government document, it tell you on the face of the document that it is the U.S. government and tribal government. Tribal government governs all tribal land according to the Indigenous Rights Acts.
Right.
It's all tribal land except for the 10 square miles that they call DC. But if we stake a totem pole in DC, we can reclaim that too.
And we did.
So I showed you where they staked the totem pole to reclaim DC. So when tribal jurisdiction, which grandfathers in before 1492,
go ahead,
when the war in the Americas started, under the tribal jurisdiction and the great law, we can restore the matriarchy and we can restore the tribal government across the land. There's a couple things that we have to change. Lines of demarcations in capital cities all have to change. They can go back to what they was before the settlers came, like the territory that's now Illinois. The capital was Chicago, now it's Springfield, right? It can be moved back. It's going to be the discretion of the local people where to put the new capital based on the new state lines, because the states will not be divided up into 50 states any longer. I think they're going to cut it down to 10 territories.
Yep. Like that's how it was back in. Yep. Like it was before.
And then the 10 territories is going to have a grand matriarch who's going to have village matriarchs, city matriarchs, county matriarchs, right? So let's say you got 10 cities might make up a county. You got 10 matriarchs make up a county board,
Right.
but they all are the matriarch of the town,
Right.
what we would call the mayor. When she get to down there, the ones that make up the county government, the most competent among them is the default leader. And now all of the counties go to talk to the next tribal mother, which would cover the state or the territory.
Mm-hmm.
And they will pass problems of community development and the application of resources among themselves. And then they would call in like the chiefs who's skilled in this area.
Mm-hmm.
How do we solve this problem right here? This is what we're dealing with. And all of the chiefs who specialize in the area have to answer to the tribal council of mothers. They used to just call them the tribal council, but now you got to identify because they keep putting drag queens in the mix.
Right.
So there's the tribal council mothers, and they will sit there and they will all listen, and then they will ask you a series of questions based on their concerns. Then they take all of the accumulated information, and then they will start whittling it down to what's most practical, most functional, and most beneficial to the collective. If every individual's issue have enough people because it affected one person, based on the number of people, is that one person's issue have enough people that's not saying nothing that need it dealt with the same. This the difference in the type of government they call in the democracy now, where the majority can brutalize the minority. It ain't gonna be no more of that. Everybody got to have a level playing field, or the game not fair. And we talking about the game of life. If your only concern is financial, that's the least of your concern.
Right.
You just don't know it yet.
Right.
The financial concerns was created by a system of debt and fractional reserve banking. This is what have us in the consumer's mentality of, oh, I won't be able to pay my mortgage. Oh, I won't be able to pay my lights. All that stuff supposed to be paid by the government anyway. Everybody got an absolute right to food, clothing, and shelter.
Right.
And anything that comes with food, clothing, and shelter is the responsibility of the government that is derived from a collection of the families of the area. And we can take information from one government or governing body to another if we find something that works easy and works well.
Right.
Right. So in the FEMA continuity of government, the tribes is pulling rank, and I'm just speaking up for them.
Okay.
Notice the agent is notice the principle. Everything I do is in the public domain, in their
Right.
face, not behind their back. I'm telling them straight and direct. The gig is up. The tribes is back. We back for everything they owe, and they owe us everything. So I'm just here to make sure we collect.
That's right.
Right.
Run. Oh.
And our system doesn't take place until their system falls. Their system is destined to fall because it can't stand under its own weight. because it's built on a house of cards,
Facts.
right? And we didn't play the Trump card.
Facts.
And they came with Chucks and Pearls and tried to slide a drag queen in on us like we wasn't gonna catch it.
Yeah, right. Right.
Because it's at least three Kamalas, and one of them is a man.
Yeah, the one that had the pearls on her ear at the debate.
You can tell them apart so easy once you know it's at least three of them. Because one of them, she bouncy and youthful, and she don't do all that giggling.
Yeah.
And then you got the one that she not so bouncy, not so youthful, can't stop giggling. The giggler, right? And then you got the man who talk like a man.
Yeah. Hey, bro, my phone on 1%, man. We're 2 hours though. Hey, y'all. You got anything you gonna say, Rod, before we get out of here?
Nope. You can go and wrap us up, Elder.
Hey, if y'all want to show Rod some love, like I say, he don't do it for the money, man, but we like to show him some love. We had 5,000 people on tonight. We want to thank y'all for coming on. Like it was a spur of the moment with 5,000 people. It's a lot of people. We got about 1,500 on right now, man. If y'all send Rod $1, that'll put him in the game. If you want to send him more than that, man, that'll be love too, man. And we about to get up out of here, man. Free Dr. Malachi New York, free Larry Hoover, free Angel Bay. Free, H-Rap Brown, man. Free all our political prisoners on the land. The real chiefs, man. Because them guys in there because they stood for something.
Was just said, but I don't hear it now. So what I was basically presenting to you was I've been getting a lot of information sent to me concerning this banking situation. As they're saying October the 1st, the banks are going to crash on a global level. And that's what I pretty much wanted you to address because I know that you are familiar with a lot of those things.
Okay, if you pay attention, the stock markets, right, is experiencing a lot of downturns in the market. Everything is trending down in the stock market. Okay, the Vatican holdings, they saying it's only a couple $2 billion, but it's at least $1 trillion. It's at least $1 trillion hole going to be in the global economy.
Oh, wow.
Right? That's a big hole. It's going to cause banks to start folding up. I was listening to Charlie Ward the other day. He was saying that his wife couldn't even get money out the bank because the banks are no longer liquid. There's no fluidity in the currency. I mean, they don't have cash or money to give you on reserve. Their reserves is depleted. So we're looking at all of this is cumulative, right? So all of that from him calling in the money to like 10, 12 days later, they announced Queen Elizabeth is dead. And all of these things is like, because she been gone, right? Though they just now announced it on I think it was the 9th, right? So the effect is when the Vatican get done calling in all of their assets, none of the global economies is going to be able to stand because the Vatican is who issued letters patent to charter each one of these legal fictions that we call governments.
Right.
They are the holders of the deed or the title to all of those. And that's the money they calling in.
Isn't that the same thing as saying like the Vatican pretty much control world governments?
They do. It's a collaboration, right? The collaboration is 3 city-states. It's always been 3 city-states. They just moved 2 of the cities, well, really one of the cities from the military strength. So now the 3 city-states is the Vatican City, London, and DC. Now DC is closed, right? So if you go to the maps, Google Maps, or go to your map on iPhone and put in White House 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, it's going to tell you that it's permanently closed, right?
Okay.
that all of that's because this shit is over with. We right now trying to get the grassroots aware of what the elites are doing so they not caught so off guard. And then you have idiots that think we crazy because we telling them what to look for and what we seeing.
So with that being said, what is it? First of all, can you explain a little more in depth as far as like the specifics of how we're actually going to be affected by all this?
We can't say that because this has never happened before. There's no frame of reference. There's no frame of reference to say what it's going to look like. You can just only identify the building falling. You can't identify the crash site after the math, in the aftermath of the falling building. This is over with right now. We definitely going to have an economic drought for at least 60 days. People are going to be, a lot of the energy companies, like people scared to stop paying their bills because they don't want to interrupt their electric and their gas. It's coming. Your lights going to get turned off. Your gas going to get turned off. Maybe even your water going to get turned off. If you don't know how to survive off the fat of the land, you might not make it through them 60 days. It's going to be a lot of elderly people that's going to be put to rest because they own oxygen machines, ventilators, and all that shit. They don't know electricity. If they at home, you need a backup generator. If you don't got one, you ain't going to make it.
Right, because my mother is on oxygen. Actually, the house that I stay in now, my mother actually left it to me and moved back up north to Maryland with my sister because, you know, pretty much with her health, my sister is a nurse. She can better care for her. But yeah, my mother's on oxygen. So in other words, you're saying that we really don't know what to expect and how detrimental that this banking catastrophe can actually have an effect on us.
No, there's no frame of reference. It's gonna get bad, but it's only gonna be bad for a limited amount of time.
And why is that?
Because all of their systems is collapsing.
Right.
The government is the government that they run in the pantomime show, as Charlie Ward called it. It's just a stage show. They got like 14 Joe Bidens. I can't even count all of the motherfuckers I didn't see.
Bro said you can't even count all these motherfuckers. Okay,
right.
So should we keep our money in the banks? Should we take?
If I was you, I already took mine out. I would convert as much of my money into what they call precious metals as possible.
Like we were speaking about the other night, gold and silver.
Right, because the new economy is going to be predicated upon a substance-backed utility. It's not going to be a fiat.
Which is what we're in now, funny money.
Right.
Basically, funny money.
Yeah, monopoly money.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, a person that has $250,000 in the bank. What you suggest is that they go get $250,000 worth of gold.
Gold and silver, yeah.
Or silver. And is this going to be a means that we'll be able to still trade with the stores or companies that can remain open if there's a such thing as, because it almost seems like everybody's going down, even the companies. So there'll be no bartering and trading. You just have to sort of hold it until everything goes back to normal.
Well, what they consider normal ain't finna come back. But we're going to have a new normal. The new normal is going to be more prosperous than the old normal. But in order to get to that, we're going to have to go. You can't have a baby without labor.
Right.
Right? It's just not going to happen. This new world that's coming up is not going to appear until the old world is destroyed. It's just like we already lived yesterday. We can't go back and relive that motherfucker. We done with it. We're moving into the future.
Basically.
And the closest thing you can do to reliving yesterday is mirror it in the future. That's it. That's the closest you can get.
So, a lot of people are afraid of all of this that's coming because I think that they're not really cognizant as to the effects. And like you said, there's really no rhyme and reason or no script or nothing that we can actually measure it to. From your personal perspective, what would you suggest people do living wise? Because I mean, people can't live
froze.
Without electricity, people either.
Look, they gonna have to figure it out. You're gonna have to learn how to live off the fat of the land because they're not paying people like me any attention. They writing us off as crazy until they caught in the condition, in the position that they can't defend themselves. They're gonna be at the mercy of nature.
You sure know what to say, because it's like the more you try to prep them in advance, again, they start saying that we crazy is wrong with us. But as soon as they get their ass in the actual problem, then now they look running and looking for us for help.
Yeah, I ain't gonna be able to be reached. Because while that shit going on, listen,
I ain't gonna be able to be reached.
Look, while that shit going on, I'm gonna be taking my hiatus. I'm gonna be gone for 6 months. Right? I'm gonna be. I already don't like doing social media. I never liked social media ever. The only reason I'm on here is because it gives me the furthest reach to the grassroots. And they have to be made. The information got to be made available to them. They don't got to believe me. All they got to do is just keep ignoring me and just watch. I'm gonna be straight, but if some of them ain't gonna make it, like I told you, they turning off the lights. That's the signal, right? They shutting down the electric grid. The excuse they're gonna use is a solar flare, but it's really gonna be them turning that shit off in real time. They trying to turn it off before the solar flare hit. The one that they looking for ain't hit yet. If they don't turn it off, it's going to fry all of the systems, and then it's going to be months before they get infrastructure in the electromagnetic grid back up.
So can you explain the flares for the people that really don't know what that is and how it affects?
Right. So the sun have explosions on it. These explosions release massive amounts of electromagnetic energy, UVAs, UVBs into the earth. And when it get here, it has an effect on your melanin. It has an effect on your central nervous system, but it also affects our electrical system of the planet.
That's correct.
So when the system, the way it's set up now, if they don't turn it off when the major flare that they waiting on, they're going to have 6 minutes to shut it off from the time they find out that massive explosion occurred on the sun before them rays hit the earth. They're going to have about 6 to 9 minutes. Once that happens, they just going to shut it off. They're not going to ask nobody for permission. And they have to do it because if they don't, it's going to overburden the wiring and fry wires everywhere. They're not going to be able to reboot the system. But they're not going to know until that explosion happens, because it's been happening in smaller, small explosions. This shit is natural with the sun. What's not going to be natural is them shutting the electric off. That's going to be man-made.
Right.
Now, in the process, they was the Bush Clan, the garden plot to eliminate us was to use EMP and fry the system so we can't turn it off and preserve it. It has to be turned off, but they're not going to even be able to tell you in time enough for you to make any contingency when that flare comes. They already turned off the Schumann resonance recorder about a week ago. The reason they did that is because that's telling you that the constant increase in the vibration, the grid is about to flip. When the electromagnetic grid flip, it's going to be time to that explosion on the sun. They know it's going to happen. It happened before. It happened in a similar manner every so often. And they can time it based off the position of the stars.
Right.
Because they all work hand in hand. So where the earth is in relation to the sun, where the sun is in relation to Orion, Sirius, Pleiades, and Arcturus, tells them when it's coming. They can use the star map and time it damn near to the minute. They can't get it to the second, but they can get it to the minute. They know, they just not telling us.
Right. So, in other words, basically people are going to actually be under certain types of conditions based on them not knowing and basically listening to the brothers and sisters that's out here disseminating this information to put them in the know. And it's going to cause them to be pretty much on some last minute preparation shit. Like, y'all could have had all this time to prepare if y'all would have listened, but now it's too late pretty much.
This is why everybody keeps saying the purge is coming. You imagine when all these people, they gonna raid the grocery stores, that's coming. When they realize that everything is down and they don't know when it's coming back up, they just got panic. And in the panic, the first thing they're gonna do is raid the grocery stores.
Right.
When you see the people raiding the grocery stores, you already know right then that the shit, because it's not gonna be on no TV or news. It's not gonna be on the radio. All that shit gonna be turned off.
Right.
And that's what's gonna make people panic, because they're not gonna have any information source to tell them what the fuck is this going on. So they're not
crazy.
Yeah, so they're not gonna be ready. And we all know proper preparation prevents poor performance, and all of them is improperly prepared to perform properly. Right? So they creating the condition that they're gonna see when this shit happen by their level of understanding of the condition as a whole.
Wow. So that's gonna be big. Time wise, how long do you think that it's gonna be before all of this stuff comes to a full head?
It could be any minute. Truthfully speaking, it's imminent. And imminent means that it can happen at any minute without nobody knowing. But they gave us a couple of signs. The Queen Elizabeth burial or funeral is Monday.
Okay.
Right? Look at the number on that date. Okay, then the Pope gave them to the end of September because the fiscal year ends in October. So they had to the end of September to get everything in before the end of the fiscal year. The fiscal year is when you calculate, or the closing of the fiscal year is when you add up all of your wealth before you do anything with it. It's a corporate practice.
Right.
Right. So the annual year may end in December, but the fiscal year ends in October.
Okay.
Right. So the Pope has to have everything in enough time for it to be counted for the fiscal year. Right. The fiscal year's closing, they've been working per diem in the United States. Right. The country has been artificially floating per diem, I mean by the day, based on the contracts that's people been under. Now we at critical mass. It's enough people that left their jobs, took their children out of this motherfucking slave trading system they call a school. And now everything is starting to come to a head. Because the Elizabeth's been dead since like 2018. And you know the day that she died because the crest fell off the gates of Buckingham Palace. That wasn't an accident, that was a sign. If you look at Prince Charles, King Charles, whatever the fuck he want to call himself tomorrow, but if you look at him at the funeral, how disheveled he looked, that's the cow toe ritual of the Masonic Lodge.
Okay.
Right? His tie is the cable tie, the cow tie. And then he got his disheveled. Only thing he didn't do is have his pants leg up. That's it.
So what was the point of delaying putting people in the know that Queen Elizabeth had died?
Wait a minute, ask that question again.
What was the point of delaying putting out the information that the Queen Elizabeth had died?
Because it's critical things that follow that. First of all, it's a signal for a power change. Chess. What happened me and you playing chess and I take your queen?
Shit, I'm vulnerable.
Vulnerable, and the odds is you're not gonna win that game.
Right.
It's almost over. Well, the queen in real life is the king on the chessboard. Well, what happened when I take your king on the chessboard?
I still have a chance with my queen because I can move all over the board.
Right, but when I take your king, what's the
Oh, when you take my king, that's checkmate.
checkmate? That's what it means. Checkmate. And the checkmate, now they have to close the game. If you in Vegas and you at the crap table, you hear the owner of the or the manager of the casino say, everybody that's cashing out, report to the cash out center, all games are closed. What would that mean economically for that casino? That mean they finna count up their money.
Right.
Pay who they gonna pay to close up shop. Casinos run 24 hours. So if the casinos is running 24 hours and the guy that's running the casino say cash out, well, you want to hold on to your poker chips or you want to cash them in? Because once they cashed in, or if you don't cash them in the allotted time, you won't be able to cash them in.
Right.
Right. So this is what we're looking at. The game is over.
So have they already appointed who's going to take her position?
It's not announced, but none of them. It's our time to shine now. It's our world. The new world is ours.
Oh, yeah. So
the white man world over with.
You said, say that again?
The white man's world is over with.
So I was speaking with Brother Love about, you know, the alchemy of the letters and the language. I'm the language teacher for everybody, pretty much. And Brother Love is my mentor. So he kind of sort of, you know, try to guide me right as far as like, you know, how to actually, you know, presentation basically. So my question is, what does us learning our language have to do, if it does any, with us